How are you, Ed?
Good, Dwayne. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Awesome. Enjoying some of this lovely spring weather.
Oh yeah, me too.
It's good times. I think it was an icer back in January.
I was, yeah, yeah.
Much, much needed though.
Well, they say that, you know, and it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. We definitely need the snow.
Yeah, it's almost closed. Stop back here. It's almost gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think another couple of weeks and we'll be more warmer in the springtime. Looks like next week looks really nice.
Oh yeah, it's it's keeping me from getting out on my driving with my other cars. I don't know if you know, I've got a 29 Model A on my car.
Oh, not
What's that?
that's awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't know.
I got a 64 TR4.
Wow, that's cool.
So I can't do much out here though.
No, not,
No.
not stuff.
Hey, Dwayne, how's it going? It's Jen.
Awesome. How are you doing?
Good. Just so you know, Denise and Kathy won't be here tonight, but we've got a quorum with 3, so we're good.
Perfect.
Really?
Okay.
Nope. But we were just kind of going over the comprehensive plan review anyway, correct? I didn't see anything
Right.
else
So we're not.
up today.
Yeah.
So
You guys won't have to vote on anything, so we're good.
perfect. How are you doing, Ann?
Since I can't unmute, I guess I'm doing great.
Awesome, awesome.
Good. Oh,
How are you today, Kent?
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen?
good.
Awesome.
Nice to see you, Ed.
Same here.
You look vigorous today.
Well, it's the snow.
Where's your harmonica?
In my car. I leave it there then just in case.
You never know.
Well, I like to get back on singing again, but I don't know.
Gary's playing on Sunday, so he's kind of happy about that.
I heard that.
Where do you play at?
At the what's the name of it?
Alpine.
Alpine. Yeah.
I have to come and watch.
Well, we don't. We used to have of a whole bunch of people in the back room.
Yeah.
But now we're not. Just her husband playing right in the bar area, I guess.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah, Gary.
Yep. On Sunday night, Sunday afternoons.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
but we used to get 5, 6, 10 people in the back room for 3 hours.
Wow, that'd be fun.
Yeah. But
Randy
we
says
can't-
he wants to try to get that going again, but I don't know.
is that the bar open for that? I wonder.
The owner says he wants to try to get it going again, but I don't know how anxious how much he's going to do to make it happen.
Well, how about the bar? Will they let us go back in the back room?
Sure. It
Oh,
sounds
good.
like it.
Well, we could. I'm game. You're losing your voice.
All right. Well, hey, you guys ready to get this meeting rolling?
I guess.
All right, perfect. I thought I lost you guys for a second. Internet here is kind of weird sometimes. It is Wednesday, April 21st, 2021, 6 p.m. And let's call this meeting to order. Roll call. Ann Wilkins,
Here.
Ed Hoover,
Here.
and I'm here. Motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Perfect. All in favor, say aye.
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 I don't think we have any audience business, do we, Jen?
No, we don't.
Perfect. And then on to new business, the comprehensive plan review. And Kent, you want to take that over?
Sure. You know,
Oh,
we've
you-
been working on this for the last year or so. What'd you say, Dwayne? I cut you off.
Oh, no, I said I know you'd love to do that.
Oh, love to do it.
Yeah.
We began our review of the 2016 comprehensive plan update in February of last year, February 2020. And Martin Landers attended a couple meetings, helped explain a couple things because he was the one that helped prepare the 2016 comprehensive plan update. The plan itself on the update, and it's over in my cabinet there. You guys each have it, I'm sure. You know, it's divided into 3 sections: plan influences, policy framework, and plan implementation. And the plan influences include the community profile, the trends and issues summary, and then the planning influences map. And then they basically took the policy framework begins with the citizens' vision of Georgetown, plan themes, theme goals, and key strategies and priority actions. And then the Planning Commission, what we did over the last year was we concentrated on one of the 7 plan themes for each of the meetings. And that seemed to work out for y'all, didn't it?
Yes.
Was that a pretty decent way to do it?
Yeah.
And so then they're listed below on this memo. You know, we have a clean and safe environment, a unique, which actually we didn't really discuss a whole lot. We just went to a unique character because the things with the clean and safe environment are kind of don't make it easy for good discussion. So we started with to try to have a discussion with a unique character for Georgetown. which had all the items listed under there. Then we talked about a compact community, a place where people live, a healthy economy, a system of quality public services, and an efficient transportation network. You know, during this time, I think Ed was the one that brought it up. He had requested a list of completed items and the costs associated with those projects. So at the end here, completed a spreadsheet. And it basically modifies the last 2 pages of the comprehensive plan update, the last 4 pages of the comprehensive plan update that has that, you know, it basically covers with enough columns the 2 pages worth, and then it just repeats it on the other again for the next 2 pages. And what I did is took that plan implementation spreadsheet. You know, each category is a separate spreadsheet, and had the original columns for priority, time frame, cost, and partners, or who's responsible for trying to get it done. And then I added 3 additional columns to it. The update comments, which was what's any actions that have occurred in the last 5 years. Now, obviously, it's pretty hard for any community, and then a community as small as ours, to accomplish an action on each of these goals. There's an awful lot of goals here, but the ones that we have taken action on, that's what the update comments are about. If they were completed, then it has a completion date. And then I have a column for staff, basically staff comments on additional action. There's some things that are in the works for this year, and obviously, or in the immediate future. And then I try to add some colors to it. I apologize if someone is colorblind and can't see them as well. But colors are added to identify actions that have been completed or some progress has been made. So does that make sense how it was set up as far as we're doing?
I think so.
And as we go through, we'll review the spreadsheets, see if it accurately represents the culmination of the discussions of the Planning Commission over the past year, and then also if I missed something or you know, some other comment from y'all, we can do that. But then let's review all of them, and then at the end, I had a question at the end, a little homework. Identify 3 action steps that you would see as a priority within the ones that are left. And that's just, you know, a recommendation from a Planning Commission member. That gives a little more motivation, a little more incentive. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed that it will happen, but helps us staff to try to organize our thoughts about what we should do or try to go after or try to get done. So let's take your first spreadsheet, which is, oh no, I should share my screen instead, but
That's perfect.
the clean and safe environment, which is the first one. And like I said, most of these are these were the implementation steps listed in the comprehensive plan. And this is the only one that we haven't absolutely completed something on. There's a couple others that we've made a little bit of progress, haven't completed it as yet. But you notice the comment in yellow on the right side of it is it says budgeted to update land use code in 2021. We're applying for a DOLA administrative grant. So there's several of these that I hope to, there's a lot of little things within the land use code as we're working along that would either as a something that needs to be corrected, whether it's referring to two things at once or something like that. Just look at it overall and present in coordination with the town attorney and Martin Landers as a contract planner, include these things as well. And Jennifer is going to start bringing it up. She's got to turn it, but she'll turn it here in a second. It's under view up on the top. Yeah, rotate view, counterclockwise. The other way.
The other clockwise.
The other clockwise. Or just keep going clockwise here now until you. There we go. And go up a page because that's one past where we're at, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, go up. That one. There we go. And, you know, that's the update, the goals within the clean and safe environment was the ones that I can see really work within this. If we get this grant, we budgeted some money too, to be able to do it. The Board of Selectmen did allow us to budget some money. But update the Title 17 Land Use Code to require mitigation of any area proposed for development that has a high potential to be impacted by land subsidence. I'm pronouncing that word wrong. I know it's pronounced. I don't know if that's the way it's pronounced or not. You know, and the next one is developing land on slopes exceeding 15% submit a geotechnical detailing any mitigation required to ensure public safety. You know, those are things within the land use code that could be better explicitly stated. So those are examples of stuff that was identified in the 2016 comp plan update. And I'm hoping this year that we'll be able to do that as part of the review and of the land use code overall. Does that make sense to y'all?
Yes.
And it says update the subdivision review provisions in the Title 17 Land Use Code to require that engineering designs for road improvements address mitigation of geologic hazards. And update Title 17 Land Use Code to require defensible space around residential properties located in the wildland urban interface. Because right before that, or right at the same time as that comp plan update, they had the wildfire protection plan passed as well, or they approved that. So it should be part of the code, and that's what they're doing. They identified as goals, and I'm hoping we can do that with this update this year. So we might also get to do one other thing on here. I didn't include it as something that could be done, but that right above those yellow boxes on the one above that, it says update Title 21 flood damage prevention regulations as needed to remain in compliance with Colorado Water Conservation Board recommendations. So that might also, if it becomes part of it. And but there wasn't really too much else within this to follow up on. We do have an application currently because Excel's doing something that requires a watershed exemption permit. That's part of the watershed protection plan. But we already have that in place. So there's not much else regarding the clean and safe environment. I don't know if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything.
Yeah, like on this, how do we move forward with updating this? What are the steps, or how do we get it as part of the meeting to approve it?
You know, when we get to the end, what I'd like to do, this is the update for it, and that you're good with, you know, the comments that I've put together on this worksheet. And then what I'd like to see is this added to the 2016 comp plan update. This is the progress that's made as of 2021. And then normally on a comp plan, every 5 years is a minor update. And then, and as Martin said when he was here for those 1 or 2 meetings last year, and then usually at the 10-year mark is when you do a pretty good revision, or at least look at it again, maybe at the 10-year, maybe at the 15. So this 5 year is just a minor update. And I was just looking at the plan implementation, what we've done so far. And if we could add this at the end of the comp plan update, and if you'd say this was a good worksheet where we're at right now, then we could present it in a formal manner to approve the update at the next meeting, or, you know, whenever it's appropriate. Does that sound about right?
I think so.
What's that, Ed?
I think probably it's a good start, you know. So we can deal with it. I was, is that printed out in our box up there? 'Cause
Yes, sir.
I got the thing here on the phone,
Right.
but it's not.
It's hard to read.
Yeah, it is.
It's too small.
Yeah. I'll get that up there from my mailbox.
Okay. And I also like the other 2 members of the Planning Commission, because this is your guys' document. So would like a full board to say yes or no, that this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
the
you're
next,
saying you want him put Kathy and Denise is what you're saying.
yeah, or at least be ready to approve it, you know, as this is where we think we're at as of 2020, you know, at the 5-year update. You know, the minor update, the review of the comprehensive plan.
Well, yeah, and the stuff like you put together with here, I mean, and they're also have an opportunity to take a look at this before the next meeting too. But moving forward, so we actually get stuff done. I guess between now and then, them actually being able to go through this stuff too. How does that work too, Kent? With if they have questions, can they ask the questions outside of the actual meeting?
Absolutely. Any one of you all can come and ask, and, you know, whether by email or phone, in person, carrier pigeon, you know.
Georgetown.
send your dog in with the note, you know, whatever.
Perfect.
And the only ones I highlighted in color was the ones that I thought some action's been taken. So like a unique character, this is the next plan theme. And these were all the actions that they wanted to see implemented. And some of these, I mean, it sounds great, but it takes a lot to actually implement them. But the first one up top, I just highlighted because you guys had identified it at the meeting that we reviewed this as a priority. Update the Town of Georgetown Preservation Plan of 2000.
Hmm.
You know, it's 20 years old. It doesn't mean that a whole lot needs to change, but it should be looked at again. You know, that was identified by commission members when we talked about this back March or April of last year. So the next one, employ a preservation specialist. We've never been able to accomplish that or to even take steps to do so. Staff here, Jennifer and I have had the opportunity to take some training through the Historical Preservation Society of Colorado, but we've not had the resources available to employ a preservation specialist. So that's why there's no color with it.
Yeah.
The next one, as far as established financial incentives to assist owners of historic properties with building renovations, including but not limited to a matching mini grant program. The fund was actually created in 2016. So as a part of this comp plan update, they actually went and put it in the budget. So that was good. And that's why I show as the completion date with an arrow hitting the mark is 2016 in the one over. So that gives you an idea of why this is here. And then color in the update comment says the fund was created in 2016. There's a 10,000 budgeted annually. They started with a percentage and then they changed it to 10,000. So, and currently there's a fund balance that would be able to do some property owner, more than one, be able to help them to do the renovations if needed. And then there's also the next one is create a handout, and there is a handout from History Colorado explaining financial incentives that's available at Town Hall here through the tax credit program. So I viewed that as we were able to complete that as well. You hit the mark. So the next one, update the town streetscape design guidelines. That was identified as a priority by the commission when we talked about street signs and street lights and lighting. That came up for the Planning Commission over the last couple of years as a priority, or when we talked about this last year. Because of those discussions, they saw this as a priority. The next three haven't been able to do much, but I get comments about the sign regulations, about the dark sky ordinance, and not so much the third one. But both of those I received comments from members of the public or different board members. So that sign code, I put a comment for additional action. It could be part of the code update, but it may be additional cost because it's rather intensive to go through that. And then at the bottom there, it says amend the town zoning code to be consistent with the character areas established within the preservation plan and the design guidelines. That was identified as the Planning Commission as a priority, and I can see that within the land use code update for this year. That could be something we could do. Does that make sense? Have I missed anything? Have I not colored something that you guys would rather have highlighted?
No, I think this is perfect. It's keeping track on what you recommend that we work on for updating and get moving forward on that. Gosh, I want to say it seems like it's been a couple of years ago when we had talked about uh, with the signs and stuff around town. You know, that seems like it's a tough one. Also with the dark sky roll and the other signs and stuff on how you control that. You know, outside of you guys, when people come in, being aware that they have to have a permit for the signs, correct, for different things, and then enforcing that. Kind of off the same thing, I had a little discussion with Bob Hamilton, and like he was saying too, you know, even through DRC, you know, most everything goes through them and they approve it, but there's no action taken to make sure it was actually done or done right. I don't know if that kind of goes along with it too. What do we do to work on that or to put better things in place?
We've done a couple things as far as the major projects as follow-up, and staff has developed a worksheet to go through a checklist of what DRC has requested and then see if their finished product matches what they presented to get approved. Done that on the major projects, haven't done it as frequently for a house or for the small ones. I mean, we only have so many hours in the day. I mean, we just don't have the staffing to, as it goes along, to try to follow up on every single instance. So that's where it gets tough, but we're trying to put the structure in place so it happens more often.
When it seems more like too, it's only if it's missed at first. But it seems like most people, once they go through DRC, tend to kind of stick with that.
You would think, yes.
Or to the best of their abilities. I mean, being in construction, is sometimes hard to nail it right on, especially now with different materials and such being so hard to get and stuff. But no, it kind of goes along with the same thing. Either, you know, like staying in control of it, trying to do our part, also too, you know, and no different with the signage. I think where we left it off with the signs, it was what actual signs we put and where and you know, all that stuff. I'm always curious, and we look way back at a couple years ago at stuff, and you know, and like, I mean, for us, we know what streets are what, we know how to get around. But you know, and then but also too, not coming in with some new crazy fancy signs that doesn't fit, you know, and some of that stuff goes through DRC, I'm sure, and through the process. But you know, and I'm sure too it becomes a need, but at some point I'm sure it'd be more of a need.
Well, and I do know that, and you had talked with a member of the DRC about the byway signs, or the,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the welcome signs and the byway signs to show, you know, where the business district, you know, these type of things. There's getting to be a need that it isn't just going down to 6th Street that's needed. You know, there's going the other way, there's a need for some additional signs. And it's kind of funny that I've heard that more and more over the last year or two. There's not a sign here, there's not a sign there. Not just the welcome or the byway signs, but just the regulatory signs, which staff will, you know, we take care of that or try to take care of that. But people notice it. You know, the street signs will stay the way they are for right now, but signage is important. And the sign code, that you know, you guys' recommendations that there should be something with the code overall as part of for the budget for this year helped get that accomplished. So at least there's money set aside to do something regarding that. And depends how much we can bite off and chew and get done. So, and not looking to do a whole lot of changes. It's just reviewing and make the appropriate changes. Because I know, you know, Kathleen on this commission has warned before, because there was a big uproar about trying to change a lot of things with the land use code about 20 years ago, or 25 or 30, or sometime in the past. I don't know when exactly happened, and it caused an uproar. That's not what this is about. It's just trying to identify the specific areas where, you know, it was identified in this comprehensive plan update. There needs to be certain changes done to make it more effective. And that's what we'd like to get accomplished with the land use code update. The sign code is another big chunk. It was hard enough discussing it just with you guys when it got going, because I started to see all the facets, multiple facets of the sign code. So the very bottom of this, there's one more thing that's, if you can scroll down, Jennifer, at the bottom, which you brought up, Dwayne, is, you know, wanted to employ a code enforcement officer to enforce the nuisance, property maintenance, and demolition by neglect. It was done by contract for a while. It's kind of reverted back to police because of a couple different issues. The implementation has been spotty. I don't say that it's been the best. But as we go through this kind of helps staff too, as far as what are the priorities. Even as I'm asking you the priorities, it helps me and the rest of staff to see what priorities have been identified in just the recent past as well. So, is there anything on a unique character that you guys see that I've missed, or that you think should be different?
Could I ask you a question on this last point?
Sure.
When we, a few years ago, we had to deal with the building, two buildings. We ended up tearing one down.
Which one was that?
Well, the two buildings on they are like a hospital. Remember? You know where the big the rock wall.
Okay.
Remember?
Okay.
We had one out torn down. And I thought we had it on our it was done by our
The town had to take action to get it torn down?
yes.
Okay.
And we followed it right out of the book here. And so what is wrong with it, that system that we have to enforce the nuisance property and maintenance? I thought pretty much our book tell us how to do all that.
Yeah, and it depends on the nuisance. I mean, some of them are vehicles, some of them are
Okay, yeah.
slash, some are building materials, some is the building itself it really depends on the nuisance or the property maintenance. You know,
Yeah,
what's the actual complaint that's not
Okay.
being done correctly? And then, yeah, there is a lot of things within the code to take action and to follow it through and then charge it back to the homeowner. Like if you had to tear down a building,
yeah,
charge it back to the property owner because they're not doing it themselves. But it's like the demolition by neglect. They have specific statements regarding historic buildings, but they don't say as much regarding regular buildings. I mean, that are not of the historic character.
oh, okay, yeah,
So that to me is a little gap. And I just got to confirm that with the legal, you know, it's just one of those things.
good point. Okay,
But the investigation of the nuisance, a lot of it is, do you stay on top of it? And then how hard do you push? You know, if I had people in previous communities, not in this one, I won't bring up an example in this community. You know, there's somebody who's, you know, if your paint is just a little bit faded, well, that's a nuisance, needs to be taken care of right now.
yeah,
Whereas the next person says, no, it can wait 2 more years, you know, before it needs to be repainted. And it's, you know, some of it is, well, how much do you push and to follow up on it? So, but there are definitely some things within town, I would say the implementation or the nuisance abatement has not been as consistent or as strong as it should have been.
yeah,
So,
okay.
and that deals with us, you know, we're not doing it. So,
Well, so many hours a day, you know?
yeah. The next plan theme was a compact community, and it has all these actions. The one, Dwayne, that you probably is the top one, as far as the 3-mile area plan in accordance with the state statute. I don't think the town has done that in previously. So I was starting to talk with the attorney and land planner to bring something back to you all so we could get that accomplished at some point.
We talked about the 3-mile plan quite a few years ago.
Did you?
Oh yeah, many times. Our attorney, when really he was good of keeping us apprised of what we're doing, would have to do,
Sure.
you know. So nothing has been done at all.
All right. There's not as much with this compact community. There's some, again, with the land use code update, there's probably some things that we'll be able to get done down towards the bottom of this page. And then continuing to the next page. Again, it talks about the outdoor lighting standards, which to be consistent with current technology, that was identified back in 2016. We need to get back to that. That deals with the dark sky ordinance a little bit. And then update the sign regulations in Title 17 to be legally compliant with content neutrality standards. We did adopt an ordinance in 2018 that did a quick review. So we were compliant with the Supreme Court decision. So that did get accomplished in 2018. But there's probably more that could be done to make them legally, to tighten the thing up. But the town attorney we did include that within especially 2 types of signs, the yard signs and then I forgot the other category of signs. But to make them content neutral, because you can't have any regulations regarding what the sign actually says. It has to be content neutral. You can talk about where it is, how it forms, how big is it, when can you put them out? All types of those type of questions. You can't have any laws regulating the content. So that's what that was all about. So. You good with this, Dwayne?
Yes.
Okay. And you okay?
I'm here. I'm doing fine.
Just checking. The next plan theme, this is probably more stuff that we've been able to do. It's a place where people live. It talks about proposed trail linkages, and there'll be a part of the bike trail will be done from 11th Street to Loop. In this year, we actually have a bid out for it right now, invitation to bid. The trails map was completed in 2018 by the county tourism. I don't really see where, and you guys can tell me if the town should do one on their own, but the county map seems to fit the bill regarding the trails map.
I don't know why you'd need to duplicate that.
Right. You know, Parks Master Plan will be, it's going to be approved this year. And I actually found out something. This is one thing I was going to ask at the end, but I found out from the town attorney that the Parks Master Plan needs to be approved by the Planning Commission to be part of the overall master plan for the entire community, this comprehensive plan update, and to have a public hearing at the Planning Commission. So I didn't know about this until 2 weeks ago. That's according to state statute. So the master plan is done now. Would like to have it at your next meeting in May as far as the Parks Master Plan, and then go ahead and have your recommendation for approval before the Board of Selectmen passes a ordinance or resolution to approve it. So any concerns regarding that or questions? We have to put an advertisement in the paper for a public hearing, but we'll send you that huge document as well. So the other things in this place where people live is work with CDOT and pursue funding to design and construct a new park and playground in the lagoon area that is proposed for dredging. Now the dredging got completed in 2018. And the additional comments over on the right in yellow says the Southeast Lagoon area is designated more as a wildlife area in the Parks Master Plan. So there's not going to be a playground over there. And that may have been what was envisioned when this comp plan update was done in 2016, but things have changed. So do you see anything problem with those comments or those, how that's written? Okay. It talks about a rec center in Georgetown. I don't think that's going to happen with the rec center that's in Idaho Springs, but they could have the comment over on the right in yellow. The rec district we need to work with the rec district to develop programs here in Georgetown or something that's offered in Georgetown. Sidewalk, we've done some sidewalk. It was partially done. Added sidewalk from 11th to 7th Street as part of the Gateway project. And then the short-term rental ordinance has also been modified. And I show that as a completion date. We did that last year. So, you know, it doesn't have very many actions, but we've actually taken a lot of activity in this plan theme. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think definitely. You know, one thing you were saying too, I mean, obviously we're not going to build a rec center. And I think we talked about that. I think, Ann, I think you had mentioned a bunch of different things. I think my only idea was, I mean, and like with bringing, I mean, I guess it's not something we do, but how does somebody go about if they want to make, you know, or is it possible to use like the school, the gymnasium, if kids wanted to play basketball, part of the rec center, you know, how does that work? I mean, obviously it's probably not something we deal with, but how would somebody go about doing that?
I think people need to be contacting the rec district, or they can ask us to contact the rec district and to say that there's interested parties. I mean, that's how an awful lot of offerings at the rec district get done, is people suggest something, or they have a certain group of people. You know, if it's just one person, a lot of times it may not gain traction. But if there's more than one person, a lot of times they'll try to follow through on it. I mean, you know, we're part of the rec district, so we're their customers just as much as anybody else in the county. So,
Well, yeah, we use it for putting our boats in there for learning how to roll a kayak. So it's, you know, I've seen the CCMRD, I've seen that logo other places too. It was just out of curiosity, you know, if it's local families here and there's a place that it can be utilized to work through there, then it could also be possible to bring people from other areas here too. Just an idea. I know it's separate from this, but yeah, it was just more out of curiosity.
They
Well,
do things at the community center and down at the tennis courts in the summer, and the rec center comes up here and does things. So
That's awesome.
it's just getting more of those offerings, you know, and it's just having enough interested people to actually, you know, that it'd be successful. So
True, and it takes away it shies away when people are like, "Oh, we need a rec center here." It's like, actually, we don't, because we can't afford it. It's better to go, well, we already have one there, but we also have programs here. I guess it's a better way to sell it without, you know, otherwise people will assume that we should just have a rec center here.
right. Well, and that's, yeah, and I don't know what the conversation was behind putting that as a goal, you know, on the update or a implementation step. But I just find it, that is reaching high to have a rec center. So
I agree.
the next one is a healthy economy. You know, and some of this stuff, as I was putting this together, and you know, Jen helped review it and stuff, is, you know, some of this stuff from the time that we talked about it until now, there's been things that are different. You know, this healthy economy, develop a community business marketing plan that includes a brochure to be placed prominently in it. What's really happening now is the promotions commission is got approval to, and we're advertising for a person right now to hire a full-time manager of marketing events. So we'll see how that works. They're also talking about the brochures, but the second one here, we may come back to you. It could be part of the code update, but it's kind of a little separate issue, is update the zoning regulations to encourage preservation of existing ground floor retail and restaurant uses and second floor residential and office uses through permitting refinements in that even though we have a couple people renting spaces in the second floor, I had another building owner ask whether he could do that with his building. And it actually had an obstacle in the code to be able to do it. So could, for the downtown buildings down here, that would be an appropriate use of his building, or could be seen as an appropriate use, but there was an obstacle in the code when we were looking at it. And I was like, how do you allow that to happen if you would want that to happen in a separate building downtown? So that may be an issue that's brought forward for your review. Do we want to do that in the code at some point? Even though we have a couple buildings downtown that already have that, to have an additional building do it, there was a stop. There was something that stopped them from allowing it to happen. So, and then the one that we actually did is the Gateway project, as far as fund lighting, pedestrian bike access, wayfinding signage, not byway, wayfinding signage, and landscape improvements from 15th to 6th on the west side of Argentina and from 11th to 6th on the east side of Argentina. Well, we got part of that done 2 years ago with the Gateway project. And then it has 2 more down that, and that's what I was talking about your discussion earlier, Dwayne, that you had. Prepare and implement a wayfinding signage plan that expands Georgetown's community brand via a sequence of attractive and effective gateways, directional identification, and informational signage. The Promotions Commission has actually approved designing banners to replace the current banners along Argentine Street from the roundabout to 6th. So that'll be partially done in 2021. There's actually more to do. But I think, and that's why I put it in yellow over here, it's become a higher priority with a lot of folks. And I think you brought it up, Dwayne, at some point too, regarding that there's no wayfinding signage down to the lake. So, and to the businesses down there.
Correct.
And the other thing that I colored on this, highlighted on this one, was explore affordable housing development incentives. Identify any potential town-owned property that could be used to leverage the development of workforce housing. There's been discussions before regarding, the town does own a couple squares of the mill site property. Would that be?
They'd have to go under their bylaws and everything though, so that makes it complicated.
Yeah. Well, and even in addition to that, there was something that we just passed, that regarding town-owned property would, in certain instances, before it always had to go to an election in order to sell it.
Right.
So that even if people had too many taxes and they just donated the land to the town, it would still have to go to an election to be able to sell it, to have somebody else build on it. And the board passed an ordinance that wasn't an absolute requirement anymore. It still was required for any town used for a town purpose. But if the town just ended up with the property somehow, it's no longer requires an election. So, but the mill site, yeah, it would be complicated. But, the town ended up with that property, I don't know how many decades ago.
Not to mention that property's underwater a lot of the time.
Yeah. Well, and to take care of the drainage problem within it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I could see.
Ugly. Very ugly.
Yeah. So, That was the ones that I identified within this category on a healthy economy. So and then a system of public service, quality public services. There's a few of them that we've been able to do. We completed in 2018 or 2019 or 2017, 2020, different things. So I won't go through all those. The only one that's that I think is kind of, at the time they were talking about consolidating town maintenance activities into one building. That's kind of turned away from that at this point. But I'll leave that alone. Oh, there's some more with this. We've done some different things and accomplished a lot in this system of quality public services in the last 5 years. So I'll just leave it at that. You guys can look it over and read it, understand it. I won't take up too much of more of your time. And then the final one was an efficient transportation network.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I've lost my sound. I can't hear anything that's happening.
We can hear you, Anne. So if you look at your chat, I can hear you. And then an efficient transportation network, there was a couple things. The truck haul permit ordinance got passed. And it was basically probably because of this comp plan update that it really became an issue. And then the prospector bus started right after this. So those were the two main things with the transportation.
That bus runs quite a, I can't remember how many I see on the day, but it's pretty busy.
Yeah. It's more than one or two things.
Yeah.
So I asked you guys, and I can leave it, and you guys can tell me in the in-between time or even at the next meeting. 3 of them that you view as really important. They could be all within one category. They could be spread out to put additional emphasis on. And what I'd like to do, just like you were asking at the beginning, Dwayne, is just kind of have something to say, this is what's a good word to say? This is our update, 5-year update of what was the comprehensive plan update in 2016. And this is what we've seen that's been done, what still need to be done, and where we are in the process. And then you guys can approve that. Does that make sense, Dwayne?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So like going from there, because we definitely would like Kathleen and Denise to see this. So do we let them look at this through the next meeting, or do we come up with our ideas, take a look at this each of our own, and maybe email those to you? Or how do we want to go about that?
I think you can email me what you see as 3 priorities, just so you can participate. And then we can go through it in probably a briefer manner at the next meeting and get their input, and then hopefully we can get to a final. I can let them know ahead of time, both Denise and Kathleen, before next meeting, that that's what they'll be asked. And then we'll see if we can get to a final document at next meeting that the staff can go and then prepare the formal approval of it at the following meeting.
Perfect.
I see how you're looking, kind of, what's the timing of this to make sure we include the other two.
Correct.
So
I'll pick up my paperwork tomorrow.
we'll hide it from you, Ed. So no, it'll be waiting here in your box. So
Good deal. Good deal. Hey, we got two girls here.
we got two Anns.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I lost sound on the other one, so.
She's frozen.
Yeah. Are you okay with the Parks Master Plan? Because as far as set for hearing, the only thing I wanted to ask you, I guess it doesn't matter that we would approve it at your regular time, which will be May 19th. That's the week before Memorial Day. Yeah, I think we'll just keep it there as far as, and just as long as you guys are good with the timing of it, and we'll set that hearing for that date or publish it. I just wanted to make sure that you guys will be able to attend that meeting.
Yep.
I will be able to.
Okay.
Ann?
As of now,
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have this.
Kent froze.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
you mean it's not me?
No,
No.
you're frozen. Now we have two frozen people on the screen. I wish we'd go back to meetings.
It might though.
You guys, there he goes.
You're back.
Oh,
Sorry, we lost
it's,
half.
it's 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, I lose connection for 30 seconds.
Yep.
Every single meeting. I don't know what happens at 7 o'clock, but it just,
Oh, darn.
Do you
So
guys want to
we'll
go ahead and
have-
approve the minutes? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, when I was just
no,
making,
go ahead, Jim.
I kind of understood what Kent was saying, and Ed and you're both good with what he was saying.
Oh, yeah.
What part of it I heard?
Yeah, exactly. We
Well,
lost.
we'll probably have three things on the, well, we'll have two things on the agenda. We may have a third. We'll
Perfect.
continue with this. We'll have the Parks Master Plan. And then we may have a lot line adjustment request that'll come. So,
Right, perfect. I will move on then. Can I get a motion to approve the March 17th, 2021 meeting minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from March 17th meeting.
And I can second it.
Right.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then Ken too, we were, since it's on the screen, should I keep doing, I mean, anybody not in favor of it? Just. I've kind
yeah,
of
you
forget-
should just get in the habit of every single time, whether everybody says something or not.
Yeah,
Those
just,
in favor say aye, and then those against,
yeah, those against.
Yeah.
Perfect.
just get in the habit.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do. That was the last little bit of remembering I had to do. So, all right, this meeting is adjourned. You guys all have a great evening.
You too. Thank you.
Good evening, guys.